So I just want to show real quick what's going on here, and I don't fault Winch Ready for this one bit, because whilst this is a factory trailer hitch, the brackets aren't designed to fit with the factory trailer hitch, and that's fine. This is part of a custom car build. So I need to make this bracket fit up the way it's supposed to. The easiest way I've determined that's going to be is I'm going to take the factory hitch off, which is only 4 bolts and a plug. It's only 4 bolts and a plug. It comes right down. I'm going to mount the bumper. I dry fit the bumper. I'm going to show that in a second. The only thing that I don't have, or they didn't send with it, is they didn't send enough hardware. My assumption is that they expect you to reuse the factory hardware, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would have liked to have, complete hardware set. I think I reused the factory hardware when I put the bumper on the front. I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. I don't know. I'll find out. I have to take that one off too. The other thing is it doesn't quite fit perfectly, which is fine. It just needs a little bit of minor trimming. You see the gap on this side is 2 fingers. The gap on this side is barely 1 finger. There we go. And it doesn't, so here, tripods. So this needs to be trimmed a little, and this is perfectly acceptable to me. Like I said, this is a custom fit piece of equipment, or this is a custom fit bumper. If you don't have the skills to make something like this fit, then maybe you should look into having somebody professionally install it. I would be a little bummed if I had it powder coated and it didn't fit, but that was why I ordered it raw, because I know better. So yeah, this needs to be trimmed, and the arc is a little off right here, and that's no big deal. I mean, that's fine. So yeah, it needs to be trimmed here a little bit too. Now I need to do some final fitting. I'll need to do some final fitting with the brackets, and I know that. So I'm in a real bad spot here, so I can't really get a good, I can't get a real good look at it to make sure that it looks straight, because just because it's measured straight doesn't necessarily mean it is straight. And I know it's a little crooked. I just literally threw it up on there. I'm in here by myself. I'm using a floor jack to try to hold it up and all that jazz, so it's a little bit difficult to get it on there. So I'm just going to mark out with the magic marker how I want to trim the bumper to make it fit just a little bit nicer in my mind. I said I don't fault the bumper manufacturer at all. It's purely, that's just the way these kind of projects go. So I would definitely recommend ordering a raw bumper. Don't get the powder coated one. Get it powder coated locally, unless you're local to Redding, California, and in which case you're good to go. The next step is I have to figure out how to get the hitch on. That's the other thing I'm fiddling with here. I haven't got that far yet. I just wanted to get the bumper on. I want to get it somewhat straight. Get the left and right looking decent, and then I gotta cut the trailer hitch and weld the trailer hitch to the bumper brackets. Yeah. Well, my trailer hitch is starting to turn into a bit of a bugaboo with the bumper project. This trailer hitch is too short, basically, to fit underneath the truck and under the bumper. I've ground off, trimmed off, I've done everything I can to make this hitch smaller at this end, and I'm still well beyond being able to use it, because even with this trimmed, the brackets are hitting the bumper. They're hitting this, which is okay, except that the bumper's not low enough. It's hitting the tailgate, and the receiver part is actually resting against the bumper and holding it up in a way that I can't have that. So here we are about, let's see here, it's 1 o'clock. Here we are about 4 hours later. Now that 4 hours includes everything from me walking out here and realizing what kind of a fucking moron I was, to where we are right now, which is a bumper that's ready to go, well, almost ready to be bead blasted and painted. So what I ended up doing was, this is my original factory trailer hitch receiver. Okay, this is the receiver end. The hitch is actually just the ball and the thing that slides in. So this is the original piece. I had an epiphany. I said, you know what? This bumper is designed specifically to hold a 10,000 pound winch. So, you know what? It's now going to pull a 2,000 pound trailer too. Now, I am going to, oh shit. Fuck, I got to fill these holes in. I was originally I spent all day yesterday trying to make this thing fit with the original factory trailer hitch, and it just didn't work. And then I'm like, you know what? I got full fabrication facilities here. I might as well do it. So what I ended up doing was cutting the old brackets off. I notched the original to get it up a little bit closer to the bumper, and I can use a torch, which I did. So I got the fire wrench out, and I cut off the original brackets, and I notched this because I wanted to sit down a little bit lower. You know, it kind of dawned on me while I was fiddling earlier, this bumper's designed to take a 12,000 pound winch. I think it can tow a 2,000 pound trailer. So basically the entire bumper is now going to be the hitch. So I notched this out. It's about 3/4 of an inch. I swapped over the wire in my welder to 035 because I'm going to be doing a good bit of heavy duty welding. You know, heavy duty is if I'm ever going to get around here. This is, like I said, this is 3/16 steel, which isn't actually that much thinner than this. So, you know, what the hell. The only bummer is this is going to stick out a little bit, but that's okay. I can live with it. Just have to remember to take the hitch out, because my hitch has caused more damage than my firearms ever will. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flush this, mount this flush against the back here. Get a square, make sure this is square, and I'm just going to tack it in a few places, and then I'm going to mount the bumper again. I'm going to put the bumper brackets on the way they belong, and then I'm going to put the bumper up again and check for fit. The other thing I'm going to do is I happen to have some nice like 1/4 inch strapping, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to plate off the back end of this. I'm going to put a plate here, and then I'm just going to angle it in just for aesthetics, and it'll cap this end off, and then I'll just put a nice angle on it, and that'll be it'll look like it was made that way, which is kind of the whole goal here. So you just have to do a little bit of measuring to make sure that it's straight this way. Brief second on combination squares. I've probably got 10 of these things. But I always find myself grabbing this one. I got this one at Home Depot a couple years ago. It's an Empire. It's not great, but it's easy for me to read, and it stays a lot squarer. These are never square, but they're square enough for what I do. I have a couple Starretts. I have a brown and sharp. I've got some really nice ones. I generally don't use those a whole lot, and I've got a bunch of cheap Chinese ones I got from Harbor Freight, and they're terrible. I wouldn't use those for anything. I took about 3/4 of an inch, put about a 3/4 of an inch notch in it. I made gussets for the ends. I'm not going to gusset it anywhere else. This is, you know, this is what's been towing my trailer now. It's all the way to Pittsburgh like 5 times. So I'm not towing a Bobcat. You know, I'm not towing a 40-foot cabin cruiser. That pisses me off. I gotta fill those holes. So that's the way. Now I'm waiting on my lights, which I don't know when the hell they're going to be here. We had a snowstorm the other day. I need to make these holes bigger, so I can't really do any paint work on this bumper until I get those lights. My welds turned out okay. They're a little cold here and there. I over welded it on purpose. I drilled drainage holes in the bottom of this because I can't seal the backside. There's a hole in the back of this, so I drilled some holes in the bottom to let the water run out. That's about it. It's now about 50 pounds heavier. Probably about 25 to 50 pounds heavier, which is fine. Heavier bumper back there is probably a good thing. It is a good thing. The original factory bumper had a giant piece of steel in it to make it heavier. Get in there with a wire brush, clean everything up, and put 2 really decent coats of epoxy primer on it before I hit it with the Raptor liner. I'm not going to Raptor line the inside. It's getting hot rod black. So I got to weld these holes up, grind them flat, and it'll be done. So that was my... Oh, I fit the bumper on the truck this way. The bumper's been off 3 or 4 times, and I'm relatively satisfied that when the time comes to bolt the bumper up properly, it'll fit without a problem. I'm also going to add some buttresses. I'm going to use part of the original trailer hitch. Fire safe cigarettes. The old lady's burning themselves alive. I've got these original pieces from the original trailer hitch. I'm going to hog these holes out a little bit so they'll fit a little bit nicer up against the new brackets. I'm going to weld these to the new... Once everything is squared away and perfect the way I exactly want it, I'm going to clean these up a little bit, and I'm going to weld these to the original, or to the new brackets. So the new brackets will have 2 mounting points. They'll have a mounting point on the side of the frame, and it'll have a mounting point underneath the frame, very similar to the way the trailer hitch was originally set up. If I just leave it the way it is with 2 bolts going through the holes in the frame, it's not going to work. I mean, it'll work, but the second I pull on something or use this as a picket or whatever, it's gonna rip the fucking bumper off. So I need at least 2 more. Well, theoretically 4 more attachment points, and I might actually go with 5. So there'll be 5 bolts and brackets additions holding this bumper to the frame, which the bumper and the brackets got more ass than the frame.